Hello kiddos, welcome back to my channel. So in part 1 I did the review, Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. I did state there's going to be a part 2 addressing the controversies. So there are unfortunately there's plenty of controversies. I had it all written out, nice and organized in a neat, pretty little package where I intended to address them one by one. However, the more I thought about it, the more I just kind of said, fuck it. Let's throw all that to the wind. I have a lot of opinions on this. It's going to piss off a lot of people. If you're gonna piss off a lot of people, you might as well just rip off the band-aid and fucking do it. So this is what I'm doing. It's going to be addressing the controversies as well as being a rant video. I'm gonna contradict myself a lot in this. I'm gonna sound like a complete asshole, doesn't know what the fuck she's talking about. You know, that's fine. You can't please everybody. Yeah, that's kind of the point of this whole fucking video, honestly. So I don't even know where to start with this. Like, I've seriously just been smoking and drinking my coffee, wondering what direction I wanted to go, where to start. Hey, let's fucking do it. As horror fans, when are we going to draw the line and find the distinction of fandom ruining the fun of a horror experience? As a society of people with multiple thoughts and ideas and followings, where are we going to draw the line where we're going to stop being offended by things and enjoy things for entertainment value? Have we really gotten to the point where we as a society cannot just sit back and enjoy entertainment without pointing out flaws, plot holes, and being offended by every tiny little thing? And this is such a touchy subject. I understand, you know, I've been called an SJW multiple times. It's fine, it doesn't bother me. But at the same time, there's real fucking problems and issues to worry about, besides how you're represented on a show that's obviously fantasy based. And you can hear my cat in the background as always. Alright, so let's just jump right into it. First off, I said in part 1, I really did enjoy the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. I thought it was a really entertaining show. I thought it was well thought out. I liked the ever-changing plot lines. I didn't really care much for the human side of the story. But, you know, all the witch stuff was really cool to me. Now, I'm really having a love-hate relationship with fandoms as of recently. And I know that the line is blurred because there are people that live this way, that follow this in their everyday life, and it's more than entertainment to them. And I do get that. You know, again, in part 1, I said that you can really enjoy it if you look at it for what it is, which is entertainment. Now, I do realize that people identify as witches. That's fine. I'm not going to go into personally with my life outside of YouTube. Suffice to say that I'm not a Christian. We'll go that far with that detail. Now, if you consider yourself a witch, if you consider yourself a Satanist, if you consider yourself a pagan, or just somebody that practices the occult, I can understand in certain aspects how the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina may have misrepresented you. However, to be offended by it is something completely fucking different. So personally, I'm just fine with witches being portrayed as the bad guys, with being evil, with being aligned with Satan. That doesn't bother me at all. You know, again, if that's your path in life that you follow, I can understand being offended, but you have to draw the line somewhere. No, not every TV show is going to get things fucking correct, and that's fine. It's not an educational show. It's not a fucking documentary. It's a show for entertainment value. And it's based on a fucking comic book. No one is trying to pass this off as being something fucking educational, and that's fine. Jesus fucking Christ. So I just think that people need to learn to stop taking things so personally. You know, if anything, you can use it as a teaching opportunity. You know, have a little fucking patience with people. It's called the occult because it is hidden. If it was mainstream, it wouldn't be fucking hidden, would it? Now, of course, Christians are upset at the show for a multitude of reasons. You know, not to knock you if you're a Christian. You know, if that's the path that you choose to follow, that's your decision. I'm not here to convert anybody. However, if you get offended by fucking coffee cups, I'm not going to expect you to not be offended by a fucking TV show for entertainment value. So I'm not going to harp on that issue very much. Now, I think that the show does a fairly good job of representing that nobody is innocent. Even the character Sabrina, as much as you like her, as much as it shows her standing up for and defending her friends, you know, loving her family, loving Harvey, loving the human world, nobody in that show is fucking innocent. The humans are not innocent, they're not fucking perfect. The witches are not innocent, and they're not fucking perfect. You know, even in that scene where Sabrina asked Zelda that if it was her on the chopping block, you know, if she would have let them go through with it. And Zelda, who is the most gung-ho follower, don't ask questions, this is the path I chose, very loyal to, you know, her church and everything. Even she said no, that she would not have allowed them to go through with it. So it's not exactly like it's portrayed on one side or the other. I mean, that's the whole point of the fucking show, is choosing between these two worlds, and neither of the worlds are portrayed fucking perfectly. The witches sure as shit are not perfect, but there were points in the show where I was even asking myself, like, is this some pro-Christian propaganda shit that I'm watching? Which sounds fucking insane, you know, to a lot of people, and I definitely understand why. But I feel like Christians shouldn't be upset, because it's not like witches are painted in the best fucking light anyway. And it doesn't exactly glorify Satan by any means whatsoever. And I don't feel like witches should be upset because of anything. They should view it as a learning opportunity. If somebody was interested in witches enough to watch a show like The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, then they obviously have some curiosity about it, and you can take that as a learning opportunity to teach them what actual witchcraft is about. Now, I understand that takes a considerable level of patience and understanding, but to my understanding, that's part of what you're fucking practice and preach anyway. So put those skills to use, teach yourself something, teach others something as well. Life isn't all fucking sunshine and daisies all the time. Now, here's where I'm going to contradict myself and sound like a fucking hypocrite. I'm sure everybody's heard at this point that the Satanic Temple, which is different from the Church of Satan, it's a different sect, just like there's different sects of Christianity. I'm not going to explain it to everybody, just fucking look it up. They have a very informative official website, thesatanictemple.com. So I'm sure everybody's heard that the Satanic Temple is suing Netflix for the unauthorized use of their copyrighted statue of Baphomet, which appears in the Academy of the Unseen Arts. And again, this is where I'm going to contradict myself a little bit, where I've been spending this whole video telling people not to take things too seriously, that it's just entertainment value. However, I am siding with the Satanic Temple on this matter. This does bear some explanation. So, when I first heard this news, I thought, why are you going to be so fucking petty? And this is just my honest first reaction. I thought it was unnecessary. I thought it was petty. I thought this was a frivolous lawsuit, as many others tend to agree on that. However, the more I looked into it, the more I started to side with the Satanic Temple on this one. Now, unlike a lot of organizations, the Satanic Temple actually does get involved in politics, actually does attempt to, and in some cases successfully, make changes regarding non-Christian people by using the laws set in place by typically Christian people under the guise of religious freedom. Now, typically, to my knowledge, what the Satanic Temple does with this is they point out the fact that these rules have to apply to everybody, including non-Christian individuals, and through use of basically political theater, and that is not an insult. I don't mean it to be insulting. I actually do have a lot of respect for the things that they do and accomplish. But through the use of political theater and just getting involved and through donations through the temple, they point out these things that religious freedom have to apply to all religions and not just that of the Christian religion, even if you are a non-religious person. Now, this may not be important to a lot of people, but for somebody like me who is not a Christian, who lives in a very small town in the South where religion is incorporated into every faction of your life, if you're a not religious person, it really affects you to a much larger degree than it would if you weren't in the Bible Belt, so to speak. Now, a little information on me without sharing too much. I do live in a very small town of less than 400 people. There's not even a stoplight here. You hear the cliche of a one stoplight town. Well, there's not even a stoplight in my fucking town. We have 2 roundabouts. A lot of people have to rely on things like after school programs so they can go to work and make a living. And as a non-religious person, a lot of these after school programs and a lot of childcare that you come across are very, very Christian based. Now, there's supposed to be a legal separation of church and state in this country. Unfortunately, you see that this is more of an idea that does not get attended to. And you see that growing more and more in politics, especially since the Trump administration has come into power. Now, I want this channel to be very much just about fun, cheesy, scary, creepy, horror-related things. I don't generally want to get political on this channel. However, since this is in the news and this is horror related and it affects the real lives of many people, I felt almost obligated to speak up on this. Now, the Satanic Temple, one of the things they're known for is their after-school Satan program. Now, in a small town that I live in, it's absolutely never going to fly. And that's understandable. I don't expect the rest of the world to fall into my beliefs or to cater to me being fucking different little weirdo. But to get back to what I was saying earlier, so many parents really have to rely on childcare, and I definitely understand the importance of that. And a lot of this childcare, unfortunately, is very Christian based. Now, even if you're not like me, you may be a religious person. However, your religion may not fall in line with Christianity. You know, you may be Jewish, you may be Muslim, what have you. And if your only option is to send your child to a Christian-based program just so you can function in your everyday life, so you can provide for said child, that creates a fucking problem. And that's a big fucking problem for me. So, the Satanic Temple does a lot of things that I do have a lot of respect for, that I feel is necessary, you know, to protect that supposed separation of church and state. Now, when Netflix chose to use their copyrighted statue, a lot of you may not think that this is a big deal. And some of you may not know that the replica of the statue used is copyrighted by the Satanic Temple. Now, you cannot copyright, to my knowledge, a deity. And when most people think of Baphomet, they think of the Eliphas Levi Baphomet. The Satanic Temple's Baphomet was modeled somewhat after that, but their statue is a one-of-a-kind, custom-made piece that is copyright material. You can look at the Eliphas Levi Baphomet next to the Satanic Temple's Baphomet, and you can see the clear differences there. One is copyrighted, the other, to my knowledge, is not. Now, I'm not personally offended that they chose to use Baphomet in the Academy of the Unseen Arts. That doesn't bother me at all. In my opinion, it makes sense. But they should not have used the copyrighted one from the Satanic Temple legally and morally without their express permission. So Lucien Greaves, who He's very well educated, he's very articulate, he does pretty much all of the representation of the Satanic Temple. He has released a statement stating that it's not only a copyright issue, that even if they were approached, that he would have said no due to the representation. Which is fine, that's his call to make. So in that regards, I am siding with the Satanic Temple. I feel that they do have every right to sue Netflix over the unauthorized use of their copyrighted statute. And I think that legally, of course I'm not a lawyer, but I think that legally he has a legitimate claim to this. You know, I no longer feel that it's frivolous. However, I am really torn because I feel like due to the subject matter and everybody having their own conflicting beliefs, because it is something that people in real life do actually follow, I don't want people to shy away from making movies, TV shows, documentaries, what have you, about these subject matters. You know, people are up in arms because representation matters. Well, if there's no representation, be it negative or positive, then we're going to have a state of entertainment that's very Christian-based, because Christianity is the largest religion in America. And how are you going to sit there and preach things like duality and opposition and having an other when you want to boo-hoo and cry about representation to the point where people are going to be too afraid to make shows on any of these subject matters due to possible backlash? And I know it's a touchy subject, I know it's going to offend a lot of people. I know that I've contradicted myself some in this video. I had to get political over something as stupid as fucking entertainment value. I really did like the show. I found it to be entertaining. I like seeing this on mainstream media. I really do. Even if it's a poor representation, at least it's representation. You know, some of us were raised in churches where you can't even celebrate Halloween. You know, people are so massively controlled by their own ideals and religions and beliefs, and their children are, unfortunately. And there's good things and bad things about religion and belief. You know, not everything's hunky-dory all the time, and that's fine. You know, there's good messages to be taken from Christianity, even though I don't consider myself to be a Christian. But I do think it's important, to a certain degree, that these things aren't always hidden all the fucking time. And you know, like I stated earlier, if you are personally offended by the misrepresentation, you can take this as an opportunity to go, hey, I saw that you were interested enough to watch this show, to give it a chance. Why don't you let me teach you what I know? Or if you seem to have a misconception about XYZ, let me tell you how I feel about it. Why can't it be an opportunity for an open discussion instead of a fucking political argument? And that's how I feel. I did state in part one that I really did enjoy the show for entertainment purposes. You know, it introduced me to a comic that I really do want to check out. The more research I've done, the more it looks really fucking interesting. The more I'm like really curious to look into it. You know, and I think that's a positive thing. And I don't see why people can't try to find the silver lining in things. Now, even though I do side with the Satanic Temple on this one, I genuinely hope that it doesn't interfere with season 2. I really want to see where the show goes. I really hope that they can find some sort of middle ground where they can either digitally replace or write into the storyline a different statue, you know, perhaps the more traditional Baphomet statue. You know, hopefully they can reasonably work together on this where it doesn't affect the show, but if it does wind up affecting the show, then unfortunately that's just the consequences of using something without permission. So, there's my rant, there's my opinions. It's gonna piss off a lot of people. I understand that. You know, hopefully we won't have to go there on this channel again. We can just get back to having some fun and enjoying some spooky, creepy, bloody shit. I can go back to being, you know, sarcastic little weirdo instead of having to make a fucking point and piss off a lot of people. So thank you for listening to me rant. You know, thanks for listening to me be a little bit hypocritical and contradict myself a little bit. If you like this, and hopefully you do, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter. Both are Heather's Horror Showdown. And thank you for your time. Don't be so fucking serious, and, you know, look for that silver lining in those teachable moments. Bye, kiddos.